show. Huh?
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. So excited. I know I missed last week, so hopefully you guys didn't miss me too much. Welcome to this week's Brewed for Business episode. We are on episode 8. And big news is we've officially taken this on the road. So today I am in Colorado, Fort Collins, Colorado, and we found this beautiful place, amazing, called Wolverine Farm Public House.
Mm-hmm.
So they feature there's books all throughout the coffee house. Coffee is amazing. They also have a publishing house, so they do a lot of like local artists. They supply that. They have books coming out. We just saw knocking over my camera here, but they just published. I think this is their newest publication. Her Place on the Map. So it's like local people that they feature. They do events here too. Pretty much every night. I saw their calendar. It's like every night they have something going on. So if you have not been here yet, definitely check it out. So we have our episode here. Cheers. The coffee is delicious, and you get like a beer mug style coffee. Yeah, I'm in love. It's perfect. So I'm so excited to introduce you guys to my guest today. This is my bestest friend in the world, Nicole. We have known each other since high school, and we met when we worked at Brewed video
stores.
Yes. Blockbusters competition, if you guys are not familiar with Hollywood Video. But I have to say, it was such a fun job for us, right? We get to look at movies, we get first access to
we had a lot of junk
food. And a lot of junk food.
It's from my caffeine intake. It was crazy. Yeah.
So much. And we had to meet a lot of the cool people around. Were you working there when Tommy Lee Jones? Yeah.
So he was kind of a jerk. He was not nice. But he did come in a lot to get videos. So
right. He was it all. His daughter, though, I do remember his daughter was super sweet.
Yeah.
Super sweet. Yeah. And our manager was we were all younger, right? We were all in high school, and our manager was in his 30s, and he was the one goofball, running around the store trying to find a video for him to sign, to autograph. Yeah. Funny, good times. So we worked at Hollywood Video together, and then we have stayed in touch since. So it's been almost 28 years.
We figured out 28 years this year. Yeah.
Yeah, and we hit it off immediately. Immediately. And so I'm out here visiting her in Fort Collins. So so from our Hollywood Video days, I remember back in the day, your biggest thing, you wanted to be in the FBI.
I was going to be an FBI agent. I practiced my stealth mode and ran around the house in all black. And yeah, I was a pretty crazy kid. It was an obsession.
I love it. But then that kind of led you into the military, right? That's part of why you went into it. So you are in the Army National Guard.
I am. Colorado. I started out in the Virginia Army National Guard. I was with them for over 10 years. And then when I moved out here, I transitioned over to Colorado. I've been here for 6 years.
Yeah. So, and you've been in the National Guard now. It's 15, we talked about yesterday. 15
this year, my 16th year. Yeah.
Yeah. And are you allowed to talk about your rank?
So I'm a captain. I started out enlisted, went to officer school, commissioned after 4 years, and then I'm promoting to major any month now. Army processes. So I know.
Yay! So keep a lookout on my channel because we'll be promoting that too. We'll be celebrating her always. Which I love. So you did military, but that's never been full time, right? It was always on the side.
It was my way of serving. I wanted to help. My dad was a police officer, as you know, right? Ed Camacho. My dad was terrifying as a kid. He's the sweetest man now, but we were always scared. So
always on best behavior every time I went to her house.
Always. Watching him growing up, I always wanted to be just like him. So FBI was my original plan, and then life changes, So went into finance instead, and still wanted to serve somehow. And the Guard was just a perfect way to do that with my community.
Yeah. And when you started in finance, weren't you with the city, with city government?
With the state, yeah. My first job out of college was with the state of Virginia. So that's kind of how I ended up. I went to college there, and then I got the job in Richmond right after, and that was it for the first 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what got you in love with the numbers and the discipline and the
fixing.
And the fixing.
Problem solving. I always want to fix things. It's a very officer look at it too. You'll hear the Army say.
Yeah.
I'm always meddling, but I love cleaning things up and making them work right.
Yeah. From teams to people to animals to all the above. Right.
Yes.
So that's one of the things too. So Nicole is also a lover of all animals. Which is I was like just trying to like
saying it nicer, but yeah, obsessed.
And so she has 4 beautiful, amazing dogs right now, 2 cats. And I was telling her the other day, like I feel like Snow White every time I walk around her house because like I walk around her house and like all the dogs like follow me around. Like I feel so loved and like just like where are we going? What are we doing next? It's beautiful, and you feel that every day.
Yeah, love it. I have to. I was complimenting her in the sweater, and I can't wear things that are nice because I don't have personal space. And I'm not complaining because I created the monster. But
yeah, the dogs and the claws and the hair and
yeah,
it's just
and then the horses,
love.
and then it just snowballs. Yeah.
Yeah. So you also just got 2 rescue horses.
Yeah.
That you're getting on your property. So how did you come across them? Because I don't know that I actually know that story.
It was a crazy. It was a really nice gentleman who was delivering some stuff from Wayfair I bought right after we moved into the house, and he saw the house and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna get animals?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna have a horse rescue one day." And he's like, "Well, actually, I have 2 horses that I bought and I don't really take care of, and I don't want them, and they're not in the best situation." And I was like, "Let's make a deal." And so he gave them to us. I drove down there and met them, and they were so sweet. And I really feel like things work out.
100%.
So I never would have. I was like, "Oh, we'll get horses one day, 5 years from now." And I'm a planner, right? So it would have been a plan and a budget, and instead we got the horses
like 10 years
first.
from now, and then all of a sudden it's like, hello, today.
Yeah, and now I have horses and no fence, and I was like, oh gosh, now we need fences, and now we need a barn, and so it's been a wonderful project. But they're sweet. It's Bandit and Jack, and they are also they follow me around and they try to crawl on top of me if I let them, which would not be pleasant. But kisses and snuggles, and they're really sweet boys. So.
Yeah, and do you have them on your website yet?
They are. I think they're on the very last picture on my website, like the contact me page.
So
is the babies.
I'm putting her website here at the bottom of the screen so you guys can check it out and learn more about her. So we'll just leave that up actually so you can just check out the website anytime that you want to. I love the little ticker bar.
Yeah.
It makes us look like we're like news station.
The stocks are great today.
Just going up or down.
Good.
So animal rescue. But so you also volunteer for a local rescue, right?
Yes. Friends of Lakota Animal Sanctuary. They're based out of Nunn, Colorado. Tom and Sam founded it. This is our 5th year. So their focus, they realized there was a need for hospice care for horses and larger equine animals, which I think is a really tough mission, right? Senior animals. So they really focus on rescuing horses. They've got cows.
They have like llamas and stuff too.
They've got llamas and alpacas, which are terrifying. But but they focus on specializing. They really want to rescue those animals that really won't get adopted out. They're too sick or too old or too broken. And so they've got a beautiful place. And every once in a while they get something they think is a little too sick or broken, and they give it some love, and the horse is healthy and young, and it ends up being a really pretty story. The animals they've rescued, I think we're at 112 equine animals on the property, and it doesn't count their pack of 4 dogs. I think they just got a 5th dog actually, and turkeys and chickens and quail and all the animals running amok at their house. But,
I can't wait to make it out there and like actually see it for myself.
I can't wait to show you. It's such amazing. A passion, but they're so passionate about it. They both work full time, and then they run this massive rescue that just takes care of animals.
Now theirs is a nonprofit also, right?
Yeah, it's been a nonprofit. Like I said, they founded it 5 years ago. 5-year successful operation. Last year was a tough year, I think, for all of us across the country. So anyway,
they have lost some of their funding and stuff.
Yeah, just money's tight.
So if anyone watching this is interested in helping, like definitely like in the comments. So we'll be able to see all the comments afterwards, but like in the comments, put like horses or rescue.
Yeah,
and we'll send you all the info so you guys can like take a look at that. But what's the name of it? Is
Friends of Lakota Animal Sanctuary.
Lakota.
Yeah, Lakota was the name of his first horse, and so he named it in honor of him. Friends of Lakota, or FOLAS, FOLAS. I think I've also got it on my website.
Oh yeah.
I try to call it out on the website.
Oh yeah, I think it's in your about section.
About section.
Yeah,
Yep.
the name is there.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
awesome.
really, it's a beautiful place.
So you're like totally in your happy place because you're out here in Colorado, surrounded by animals, right?
We talked about it our whole lives. I was one day going to be an adventurer, and here I am,
Living it.
homesteading. I really am. Yeah.
Yeah. And ahead of schedule, which is
Oh my
even more
gosh.
beautiful because this was like the long-term goal.
This is one day.
Yeah.
One day. You always say one day, and then the world, universe had different ideas for me. So,
Yeah.
no complaints.
And so on the business side of things,
Ooh.
so you have, you worked for the state of Virginia, obviously not anymore because you're in Colorado. So we skipped a couple steps in there. So you did Virginia, and then you also then you went back to Florida for a little bit. So you worked for some, there was a boating company.
So
and then
it was actually a little zigzag. So it was Virginia to Colorado.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, I worked with the city of Aspen, actually. So I moved to Colorado, to Aspen, Colorado, which is the most beautiful place I've ever been, but not really a realistic long-term.
Unless you feel like being, secluded. And
oh my gosh.
When the snow comes and the roads close and
just the lifestyles of the rich and famous. It's like living like in Miami Beach. It times a million.
Right.
So it was a different lifestyle. It's beautiful though. I snowboarded a lot. And that's where I met Nick. So that's my love, my husband, and my family. And we moved to Florida for a little bit to help with some family stuff. And I worked for a boat company down there and did some manufacturing, and also for a SaaS company. So a marketing, digital marketing SaaS, which they did amazing. They just sold. And then we ended up back in Colorado after 3 years because we all miss it a lot.
Right.
A lot. And now we're here forever.
And then you have recently launched into now your very own fractional fractional CFO?
Fractional CFO and controller services. I've been doing it for a very long time, but always
For
like on the
people.
side for other people. And this one's been telling me
Y'all,
for years.
I have been trying to convince her for like 8 years now.
I know it has been. You and my mom, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's a big leap, right? It's working for yourself versus working for somebody else. It's a lot more stable.
Yeah.
It's a little scary going on your own, but I did it, and I've been loving it. I'm also absolutely terrified some days, and usually talks me off a cliff. But
that's the entrepreneurial journey,
Yeah,
like some
really
days
is.
You're like, oh my gosh,
Amazing.
I'm on like cloud 9, and then the next day you're like, what am I doing? What was I thinking?
Why don't I just apply? Let's go on LinkedIn. No.
And then it goes right back up, and you're like, you're good.
Up. No, I love it. I love the flexibility to help people where they are. So that's probably the best place to describe
so your main focus is to work with, business owners, obviously directly, right? Do you have a size of business that you prefer to work with?
Yeah. So my experience, I'm fairly lucky. I've branched across the world, right? So I've got experience in multiple disciplines. Anywhere from $1 million to $1 billion was my last big state agency. But I really like my small to mid-sized businesses. I really like getting in when they're still in the growth stages, and watching and helping and being part of that growth process and just the success, kind of like you. So it's my favorite part. So
it's the best, and it's very relationship driven, right? Like you basically like make it simplified.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so some of us that go into business, I mean, we're there for like the ideas. We've got the experience to like back up like what we're launching, but very little times are we like both great at our idea and great at the financial background of it.
Yeah.
Right. And so you really help kind of like, bring people back down to the ground and be like, hey, here's where, tell me where you want to go. And then I'll give you like the plan of like,
let's figure out how to get there. Let's get there together. I'm really invested. I was talking to somebody recently, and they said that's I think the part they liked working with me the most, and what I really love doing is it matters to me. It's not just a business; it's a personal relationship.
And you educate.
Like, I want you to be successful. Like, we build each other up. It just helps each other. It's not gonna help the world if we're not all succeeding. So it's really important to me. And numbers don't have to be complicated. I can say that over and over, and you'll never agree with me. But
some of us are just not built that way. Cool.
Listen, you're on the marketing side. I cannot.
See, vice versa. I know. Numbers, and I'm like, Nicole,
give me specifics.
Yeah,
but breaking it down and making it, translating it, I guess, like you said. there's so many places I've worked where I was like the voice between accounting and leadership, because they're like, I don't know what they're talking about. And I was like, well, they just said that 1+1. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. We don't have to use like big terms. Yeah. And if you understand where your numbers are and where the data is coming from and kind of where it's going, you're able to make better decisions.
It's one of those things where you can't grow what you don't track.
Yep.
Yeah, if you don't know where you're at, like you have no idea how to get to where you need to go. For the people that don't know, especially, like some of the business owners, like the difference. So you're not, for everyone that knows out here, she is not a bookkeeper. Okay. It's a whole different set of skills. Pretty much anyone can just input numbers and data into a spreadsheet and break that down.
Yeah.
So can you kind of like simplify like what it is that you do? Like,
I was actually explaining it because I had one of my clients who was like, oh, I'm hiring this accountant. I'm like, oh, great. What's their experience? They're a bookkeeper. Bookkeeping's an amazing, we need them, right? I need one of my staff as well. They're great at data entry and making sure all the stuff that you do is in your books, in your financials. But you want somebody who's also going to analyze that and simplify it, and also put it into a format and say, hey, all this data that's in this system, this is what it means. And that's where your accounting controller typically, or CFO, depending if you're going scale. That's kind of my skill set, is looking at all that information in there and just being like, hey, this is all in there, but let's make sure this makes sense. Let's make sure that, hey, I looked at your 12-month track or your 6-month track, and here's where I've seen some variances, and hey, what's going on in this number? Or hey, have you looked at your subscriptions recently?
Sometimes as simple as
that's
that.
Something. Let's clear up some dollars. So
yeah, I mean, because that's one of the things. Like, when I started my business, I was like, oh, $10 software here, $20 software here, and I'm like, oh, my overhead is like nothing. But then you add it up, and like, and yearly, like what I'm paying is like, it's a lot. And you always tell me that, like my software fees outside of my team. My software fees are like the highest expense that I have in my business, right?
Which is not uncommon, with, especially digital focused and remote focused businesses. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's really tough. Somebody was just complaining to me about the other day that like they make it really hard to cancel. I'll try this for 30 days, and 6 years later, you're like, what is this expense I've been paying for? Because I didn't realize that somebody on my team or I did it years ago. So something as small as that, just adds up. And when you're a small to mid-size, that money can be used towards a marketing or towards another staff member, or to help grow your locations.
Right. Yeah, every little bit.
Yeah.
And the way you usually come into a business, at least especially recently, has been like you come in for like a cleanup. Like the very first thing you do is you like kind of organize, because most times things are
a little chaotic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to start from a crumble base. Analogies. I don't know.
I love it. There's like that quote of like, you can't build on a crumbling foundation, right? You really can't.
So the first thing I'm going to do is come in. We're going to talk. Hey, what's your concerns? Where are you at? And let me see what it looks like. And then I'm going to look through your books and fix what needs to be fixed. Sometimes it's just like, hey, you've got all this stuff in travel and it really is a marketing expense. Or hey, you have this under. You accidentally mix your personal expenses with your business expenses, which is really common, especially as you're growing. So start from scratch. Let's just clean it up. Not everybody's really awful, but you want to make sure you're good. Almost like an audit, which is kind of where my career started. So it's kind of where I always start that direction. And then once we know that the numbers are good and we've got a really good foundation, then let's get it to where we want it to go. What's the goal? Are we opening another location? Are we trying to hit $5 million by the end of the year? Are you looking to, hey, I want to see a 75% increase in profit share? Okay, let's do it. I want to go public this year. Okay, how do we get there?
Yeah.
And based on that, then we work on a plan. So I'm your partner, but fractional. So we agree on hours, and we agree on timeline, and we agree on needs, and then it's a lot better than that full-time benefits hire.
Right. And so ideally, like the company would have like their own bookkeeper that you would then coordinate with, right? To verify all the numbers, but they still input all the data.
Yeah.
And then you just communicate between, like you said, between the departments.
Yeah. The accounting to IT, operations. I mean, I'm not, finance isn't just the numbers. I'm not going to sit in the accounting scope. I'm going to talk to the whole team, and we're going to figure out how we're communicating across the teams and make sure that we're working best. Hey, just because ops is doing a great job, but they're not communicating to finance or your accountant. And so they're doing all this expenses and the accountant's not tracking it. We've been missing these projects, or, hey, we bid out this new thing. I have a construction client. We bid out these new things, but nobody on the back end had any idea what was going on. And so you really need your whole team as one unit, whether it's a 1-person show or a 50-person show. I'm kind of like that back of house. I'm going to meld them all together and make sure we're working together.
But you have one of your clients now too that you get they're implementing like AI systems, right?
Yeah,
like so how
really
do you fit into that?
Yeah, so you still want a brain analyzing, but the AI stuff it's really neat seeing how much it can take away from the daily tasks and a little more of the monotonous, repetitive things, and then I'm able to just jump in and focus on what they want to pay me for. So instead of, hey, I'm going to go through my inbox for the next hour and respond to those clients, the AI tool will scrub it, highlight the important parts, send out replies for the ones that don't, and I've got to prioritize. I'm only responding to the ones that the founder wants me to, which is a time saver. It really is.
Yeah.
And then on the finance side, I use it for a lot of like data analytics, especially industry focused. It's able to just pull that information in really quickly for me versus me having to like search.
Right.
Yeah.
It does take a lot off your plate. And so for the company that you're like your client, like when they're implementing AI systems into their, so are they what am I trying to say? Are they consulting with you on like, hey, how is this impacting like our end goal, like our financial like projections, and like how the team? Because I know like I've heard you like talk to like all parts of the team,
good, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To kind of like get everyone like on track. So it's just I'm just curious like how that kind of works like on the
So honestly, it's client by client based. So some clients are like, hey, Nicole, I want to incorporate this and I don't know what the best tool is. Let's test some stuff out and do you have recommendations? Let's work it out together. And I love that. It's a lot more collaborative. There's some that are like, hey, I know what I want. How do we make it work? And I said, okay, let's make it work. So I guess I'm more of my job is to help make the founder's job easier and make sure the business is successful and that they're set up for success. And if there's preferences on how they do it, then I will work within that.
Which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So it's not all about organizing your finances.
No.
It's also setting up like those KPIs. Like how do we get to the next goal? Okay, so then like what is involved in doing that, and then you're able to kind of help them maneuver like through those challenges in order to get to where they need to get.
Right. Yeah. It's I mean, some of them. I just had a client that their back of house. So construction, right? Hey, let's go build. We're building. That's where the money is. But you also really need a solid team back in the office who's processing those invoices, paying the vendors, charging the clients, tracking the construction project. And they didn't have great success. They hadn't had great success with the back of house team. And so a big part of my job, even though I was their CFO, was to also sit with that team and be like, hey, what's our process? How do we do this? How are you communicating with each other? Because collections, AP, right, paying the bills, and the person who's charging the client, receivables, weren't even talking to each other. So they had no idea, and then they weren't talking to ops, so they didn't know what the project was, or it's time to bill. We can invoice the client. We hit 75%. So just really sitting with the team and training the accounting staff to make sure, hey, this is how you should be accounting for that. And it's really nice to be able to, especially for teams like that were kind of siloed for so long, to be able to bounce those ideas or ask questions to somebody who's like, oh, I can answer that for you. Let's proper accounting procedure. Let's walk it through. This is how it works. So
it is interesting because I feel like sometimes you do need that like outside perspective because like as a business owner, then you grow your team, and then all of a sudden like things are just kind of like spiraling out. And a lot of times you're too close to it to realize that sometimes something as simple as like, hey, getting your accounting and your receivables department to talk and to communicate and to have that system and flow where and that's too like that comes from the financial experience. It also comes from your military experience, right? Like having like a system and processes, which a lot of business owners are not great at. Because again, we just kind of
you do it and you do it well.
There's like that quote of you jump off a cliff and you build a plane on your way down kind of thing.
Yes.
Right? It's
You call me and I get down there and help you build a plane
sure.
after you jumped.
Sure. So it's important to really like have that outside perspective to come in, because then you see like the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
You see like again the financial, where they are, what they can afford, what they can afford, what they need to do in order to be able to afford what they want to do, right? And that's to kind of like go from there. But I do love that it incorporates that.
Yeah.
The other thing that you do too is it's not just it's not like an necessarily ongoing basis, although those would be lovely.
Yeah.
But you do go in for like a project base.
Yeah. So again, it's needs of the client, right? Some teams, my most recent example, it's $16 million construction company, amazing job, lots of growth, but really struggled with the back of their house, their financial side. Just the team hadn't been able to keep a stable team. We're swapping out, and they were hiring people that thought knew, but that person really didn't understand the business model and just were really struggling with their books. So I came in 10 months. We redid 2024 financials from scratch, filed their taxes finally, got 2025 cleaned up and set up correctly, and now 2026, and they're running so well. So they don't need me anymore. Their team feels comfortable. I'm always available, and I'll probably stay on as a consulting basis. They'll reach out if they have questions, and we'll continue that way, but they don't need me 20, 30 hours a week anymore, because it's fixed. It's wonderful.
Right.
And they did it all without having the cost of a full-time FTE employee, with the benefits and compensation package, especially CFO controller level positions. It's pretty significant once you do total compensation, and then health insurance and
right,
their 401k plan and their unemployment insurance, like all of it. I take care of all that, and you're just paying for my time.
Yeah, well, and like you said too, it took you like 10 months to get them on track from like what they were doing before.
Yeah.
And then from here on out, they can technically run it on their own, and then
Yeah,
just
they'll be fine.
consult with you like if something changes or something shifts, or if they grow and they may expand.
Yeah.
You know,
they have already twice. Actually, they've just bought 2 smaller businesses, incorporated them. It's just
oh, nice,
absolutely wonderful. They're gonna do really well.
Yeah,
it's been really exciting.
Because part of the issue too, like why it may have like taken like 10 months too, because some people will hire, you know, maybe newbies or beginners, or
that was their problem.
Different financial people have like different systems or different ideas of what their systems might be. So then you have like, because I deal a lot with that, like on website work, for example.
Yes.
You know, like someone will come to me and be like, oh, I want to just update my website. And then I look on the back end and I'm like, oh, well, you had one designer do things this way. Then you had another designer that just kind of like patched things on top of it. And then like ends up being like such a hot mess.
Yeah.
Right. So
that's exactly what happened.
Too many people involved and too many systems implemented.
Cooks in the kitchen, right?
Yes.
So they'd had so much turnover and so many people come in, and it wasn't anything on the owners or the people who are coming in. It was just
people come and go.
Well, that, and it was really complex. They'd come in like, oh, I can't do this, and then they'd leave, and then they'd have a gap. It takes a while to fill, and it happened so often. They were growing so quickly, they couldn't get ahead of it. So I want to say we cleaned up in less than 5 months. We'd fixed entirely the previous year, and then the last 5 months have honestly been building the financial structure so that moving forward they're set up for success. It's they've got financials, they have a budget, they've got an actual to budget comparison, they have a forecasting tool. They're starting job costing. Hey, I bid this job, and this is how much my people are going to cost, and this is how much the material. It's just been really cool. It's been really neat to see. Yeah.
I love that. And then like you get to feel like the mama, like you get to go back and look and be like, oh, the child.
I watch them. I'm going to watch forever. You know, my SaaS digital, like I said, the marketing agency that was they primarily for marketing data, fully remote marketing data, just got sold. And it's been the coolest thing just watching, because that was something the founder had always talked about wanting, and she'd been pushing and pushing, and then
if your numbers aren't straight, number one, and none of that's organized, then there's no way anyone can actually like evaluate the business properly.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. Yeah, you were able to do that, like because you were with them for 3 years. 3 years.
3 years. The joke is I worked myself out of the job. But no,
you did so well with the company that they were able to sell it.
I did. Yeah, honestly though, they were at a place where they ran with one person back house. I managed all HR and finance, and then they were able to just, their whole budget was front of house, client facing, and it was just really neat. And again, automation, those automation AI tools are just such a great part of that. But you still need like a little bit more of it.
And you need the human oversight.
Human oversight, the experience. I think tools are wonderful, but you still want somebody double checking.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to, especially some of the AI tools are like they're not 100%.
Yeah.
They're not 100%. So you gotta look and verify. You know, it's like what we were taught, which I always feel bad for the new generation, but like when we were taught in schools, like we were taught how to look up resources and
Oh my
how to
gosh, the cards.
card catalog.
I can't even explain to my kid. He's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, it's a different world. I had to go to the library to read my books and research. Searching.
Yeah.
Copy pages out of the book.
Yeah.
Like copy pages to take it home to write my paper.
We're all totally like aging ourselves here too now, or it just sounds so much further away than it did. We're like when Wikipedia first came out, we're like, don't trust it. You gotta verify it with the books. And like now we're like so far beyond that. I've got some people that we're just going off on an AI tangent now, but I had an attorney friend of mine that a colleague had submitted a case, no, an argument. Sorry, if I can forget the legal terms. Submitted an argument, and then when they verified like all the cases that were references in the argument, it was like, where is this case? Like we don't know what this case is. And the guy had used AI to come up with the argument. And so he is now officially disbarred. But he assumed that the information was correct, and the AI tool just kind of made up its own thing. That sounded good.
Trust but verify is the number one term we use in the Army.
Yeah.
I trust you, but I'm still going to verify your work.
And I'm sure that like hits big on like the financial side too, right? Like you gotta really look into this stuff. So for the different industries that you have worked with, so you've done stuff with retail, restaurants, construction, obviously SaaS, like the software companies. Is there any other, obviously state
government, state, municipal, local, county, and then also manufacturing, construction, marketing. I've got a boat building client. He's building his business from the ground up. It's pretty cool. Boat engineering. So a little bit of everything. The foundation's always the same.
Right. Yeah, like the general. So what is the most common like thing that you see across like all these different industries? Like even though they are totally different, but like what are some of the common like
we've talked about this a little bit. It's been really neat watching over the years that somebody in the $500,000 range and somebody in the $50 million range.
Nick just chimed in. Hi, Nick.
They all struggle with the same things. They're all worried about, hey, are we? Where's my visibility? Where's my numbers going? Am I making enough? Am I controlling my expenses? Am I on the right path? Every single person in all those industries are worried about the exact same thing.
Doesn't matter how much you're making.
Doesn't matter how much you're making. And I'm talking, I've got one of my clients is moving $200 million in a text message. And I've got another that's like, I don't know if I could afford this $50 subscription, and I think it's really, it makes me feel a lot more realistic because we're all in the same place with it. It doesn't matter what dollar level you're at. Obviously, we want to grow, but if you don't know where your dollars are going or what each dollar is being used for, you're going to struggle with that and you're going to stress about it no matter how big your business is. So that's, I think, been the most common denominator across all of them.
Yeah. Do you find yourself a lot being a bit of let's say like a therapist, but like a counselor, like for clients? Because I know financial stuff, especially if we're not like, it's stressful, right? And it causes a lot of stress within, or anxiety, like within any business owner and stuff. So you find yourself a lot like,
quite a bit. I had a phrase I'd repeat. I was like, "You're doing great. This looks really scary, but remember where we were a year ago. A year ago, you were here, and look at where you are now. So I know this moment feels scary, but you were so much further than you were at this exact moment in time a year ago." And so, not so much therapist, but just let's talk down the anxiety a little bit because that is really common. It is my personal life, right? It's money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like coming back, there's a quote that I saw recently, or it might have been a post. A woman, I think she's a mediator, and she was talking about how she does mediation for like divorces and stuff. And she's like emotions, like anxiety. She's like, and sometimes she's like, the biggest help I can tell people is that come down to the facts.
Yes.
Like the thoughts, the ideas of like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? The possibilities is like so overwhelming but like when you bring it back down to like, here are the facts, like you said, yeah,
The data.
here's where we are.
Here's where we are.
Here's where you were.
I think that's where that value comes in with me, is I'm able to think really logically, and also that outside perspective, right? Emotionally, I'm tied because I want you to be successful, but I'm also able to look at it a little more remotely, dispassionately, because it's not your success. Your every dollar coming in is important to you, um, and so I'm able to say, hey, this feels like a really tough moment if you buy that business, or if you hire that person, or if you lay off these people. But let's look at where you were, where you are currently, and then what the plan is next. And if you've got that picture, it always goes back to a picture. If you've got that picture and you're able to like, okay, this one thing will get me to that next thing that I'm trying to get to. It really helps. One, the decision making, it makes it a lot clearer when you've got facts to make that decision with. That's kind of scary. And then hopefully it helps with anxiety as well, knowing that you've got a financial expert helping kind of guide that steering.
Going on. Oh, that way went off for a second. So, but I will say also on the other side of it, coming from experience, is you're also really good at like bringing us back down to earth. So some of us, no one in particular here, but have like these crazy ideas or like things that we want to invest in, big pictures. And you are absolutely fantastic at like bringing us down to earth and being like, this is great.
It's a great idea. This is a good idea.
Yeah, like potentially in a few months, might make more sense. But for right now, this is where we are. And I have to say, it's been such an impact, like just to have that sounding board, because otherwise it was like you said, like what you do in a business is like a partnership. And yes, we're best friends, so that's 100%. But also now on the business side, it's just like I do feel like I have that partner, so I could call you and just be like, hey, here's what I'm thinking. You know, here's the goal, like here's the plan, whatever, like this is what I'm, and then you can be like, okay, that makes sense. Here we go. Or, you know what, Julie, like let's take a second.
And it's been years watching Jules grow her business from scratch. And it's just, I'm so proud. I'm always so proud. You know that. But some of those calls, listen, business owners, you guys are dreamers. We're all dreamers. I'm just a little more practical. I think a lot smaller, only because I'm supposed to be like the really stable force. And so some of those calls are like, hey, this is what I want to do. What do you think? I'm like, oh, that sounds beautiful. Let's look at what our decisions were a week ago. Our plan. Here's our plan, and this is what we're doing. Do you want to? Oh, I still want to do that plan. Okay, well, if we're still doing that plan, then we're going to put this little really big plan. That'll be next. Right. And so we're gonna wait.
Yeah. Let's take care of one thing first. Yeah. Or, even if it's like, okay, so if this is something that you really want to do, well, let's take a look at like what we can tick off the plate or whatever to like make that happen.
Right.
Especially like if it's an investment and stuff like that. But I do love that, just like because you are like really grounding. Like it's like it's like I know that if I ever convince you of anything like an emotional base, if I'm like all excited and you're like, yeah, let's go,
then it's $1 million idea.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna keep trying until I get you to respond like that. But otherwise it is good to have that reality check. The reality check is always kind of based in facts, I guess, for lack of better words. But it's always like positive, right? It's not like, okay, Julie, you're an idiot for like thinking this. You might think it, but no,
they're great ideas, because that's your skill set, right? Is big picture.
Yeah,
this is where I'm going, and you just see yourself being there so quickly. And my goal, my job, my specialty is saying, hey, absolutely, let's get there. But to get there, we have to build the bridge to get across this cliff. Let's make sure we're going to get there safely, and then that way you have your business 20 years from now. And you're stable.
And so that works for any industry. Like it doesn't matter what business that you're in, like if you're a business owner, like I highly, I mean, obviously I'm a little biased, but I do use her for my business as well. So
For years.
Yeah.
It's been years.
So I highly recommend at least like have a conversation.
Yeah.
On her website, which is the little ticker bar going across the bottom here. You can check out her website. She's got a contact form where you can like schedule a call and you guys can just chat it out, because you may not be
The
a
best
good
fit.
fit.
And
right.
I'll tell you, the worst thing to do is to partner with somebody that isn't going to be a good fit, whether it's because of industry experience or the type of work, or I just might not be knowledgeable enough, or just I will be I'm pretty direct. That's the military side of me too, oldest child syndrome. So I will let you know, but just have a conversation. I can at least point you in the right direction. I might have somebody I could recommend instead, or it might be me.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And because sometimes like you never know, like number one, personalities might clash. Like there has to be a trust factor if you're going to bring in someone to like to run your numbers and to, do these financial projections and to really be that partner. So sometimes the personalities may not clash, right? But she'll always be honest with that. She'll tell you.
Nicely. Usually nicely, but yeah.
Yeah. You're like, this is not up my wheelhouse, but I do have someone I can recommend
It's
you.
a great idea. I recommend somebody.
Yeah. And again, not a bookkeeper. If you need a bookkeeper, that's a whole
I do have a team. So I think for certain long term.
If you need that, like within the service, but if someone's going to call you for data input, like that's not.
I will review the bookkeeper's work and make sure it's right. But I'm just not a great data entry person. There's no way.
Yeah. And even like, the biggest thing that you've done for me too is like just implementing like some of those, the reporting.
Yeah.
When we first started working together, which was like such a lacking piece in my business, because I'm like, I'm just going, and I know a lot of business owners feel the same way, but like, you're just going, I'm going after the next client. Like we're working on projects, we're like moving, and not enough time to really like analyze like what was going on. And I'm like, all I know is like the bills were getting paid, the team was getting paid. Like, we're progressing, we're growing, but like the details, the minutia of it, like I never, took the time to really like get into. And so like you set up like the reporting, like probably like the very first thing. Well, not the first thing, after you fixed it, then the reporting. But that's such a huge help, because then, like I know like in a quick glance, like I can tell exactly where I'm at. So at least I have an idea of like, what it takes from there. So that's beautiful. And that's typically like your process with every client.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Like I said, we keep going back to that picture, but you want to make informed decisions, and you can't make those if you don't really know where you're at. And if you're always hustling for the next one, how do you even know what you need?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you look at the numbers and you're like, oh, I just need like 3 or 4 more clients.
Yeah.
Then I'm good. Goal met.
Conversation. I know. And then we're like, oh, that's an easy thing. And then let's go to the beach.
Yeah. Right.
Vacation time.
Well, we're in Colorado, so beach maybe not, but the lake or the horses. Yeah. There you go. So we go lake or some hiking.
Cold.
And do all that. So in an ideal world, like, is there any industries that you have not worked with yet that you would love to work with?
That's a good question. Nonprofit, honestly. I do work with Friends of Lakota, but they're truly my first big nonprofit. And they're my passion project. So I'm really interested in helping more along that way. But no, I really love my small to mid-size. I love it. My restaurant owners, my construction company, my manufacturers, my personal services businesses. Obviously, those have a special place in my heart. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and the nonprofits, maybe we got to get you something that's maybe not animal-based, because you're going to have more fun like out there getting your hands dirty with animals and actually
probably
like
something where I'm not at the location all the time. Yeah, that's the problem with that.
She can do an animal nonprofit that's like on the East Coast, because then you can't have your
spiders, because I don't want to pet them.
No, there you go. I love how like of all the animals, it's like the only one.
Yeah, I can't do it.
It might be reptiles, it might be okay. Anything furry, great, but no. Yeah, I'm right there with you though. The spiders.
No.
I wonder if there actually is like a.
I hope not. I hope not. Keep those away.
If there is one, you guys let us know in the comments, because that would just be funny just to know
the
different things that people do. Oh my gosh, I love it. So yes, so if someone wants to work with you, what is the first thing that they would need to get together before they like schedule a call? Like what would be beneficial instead of like just jumping on a call with you?
That's a really good question. Honestly, I think the best thing would be just to jump on the call, because they wouldn't even know what they don't know until they've talked to me.
Yeah, that's a
And
good
then I
point.
can decide, from that we can decide, one, is this a fit? Is this something that we think would be a good thing working forward? And then, hey, let me take a look at what you've got so far, with whatever area you are needing assistance with. If it's
Makes sense.
financials, if it's building a structure, if it's hiring somebody. Yeah, 'cause I feel like
Yeah.
that talk is probably the best place to start with.
That's a good point, because then you can give them the homework if it happens to
Yeah.
work out. You can give them the homework of like, hey, I need this information, and then we like
Yeah.
move to the
Yeah,
next step.
or I can help them pull if that's where the need is. Like I said, my focus is on not complicating it. It's simplifying it. And if I've got some people that are like, hey, you say the word accounting or finance or numbers, and I get anxiety. I don't want to look at it.
Yeah.
I don't want to have
It's like
anything to
deer
do
in the
with it.
headlights.
Yeah, they hate it, and they're a larger one, and so I spend quite a bit of time packaging the information in a way so it doesn't come across as a bunch of numbers.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of charts.
And a little bit more
Graphs.
palatable.
Yeah, a little less anxiety inducing for them. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, because that does happen a lot. So
Yes.
ideally, like, you want to work with people like long term as a CFO, or you
Yeah.
would prefer like project based and then stay on as consulting? Like, what's kind
Yeah.
of like your goal?
Obviously, that relationship's really important to me. I'm personally invested in every one of the people and businesses I've worked with. So I do love the ones that we get to stay long term, because I get to be part of that growth, and that success story is really, really empowering. But there are some that just don't need it long term, and that's okay too. So my favorites are always going to be the ones I get to stay with for forever and ever.
Yeah.
But knowing that's not in the cards for everybody, and then I'm always a resource. I don't think I've got a single client who hasn't reached out to me years later for a question or follow up or feedback. And so those are really good relationships to maintain.
Right. And so you do work now, for the most part, it's a monthly basis with most of your clients, unless again they need that one time project.
Yep.
Things like that.
Yeah, I typically structure it on a monthly basis, and we figure out what you need help with, and then we say, hey, this is how long it'll take, or long term, this is what we can do, and we set that up ahead of time. And I just want to put it's not geographically based. I've got clients West Coast, East Coast, North, South.
She's awake all day.
I do
meetings,
have some
all
really
hours of the day.
crazy working hours with the time zones, but I really love it because some of those really prefer in person, so I've got a couple that are quarterly check-ins where I'll fly to wherever they are and we have a meeting. And especially when it's on the East Coast, I get to visit family or friends and I make a little trip. But I really love
Bless you.
keeping that option open. There are some people it's a lot easier to sit down and look at things in paper.
Yeah.
But yeah, monthly, I typically structure a monthly basis for the short term or long term.
Awesome. Speaking of paper, do you have some clients that still like you have to like the shoebox method of like, okay, yeah?
I do. I think
It's a whole other undertaking.
Oh my gosh, I've got one. I love them to pieces, but they now they collect it now where they didn't used to. So now they collect the paper and put it all together, and then they take me pictures of it and send me pictures of the paper through text message.
Mm-hmm.
And then I organize it, and then I teach them. But they are so much more educated on top of it now than they were 6 years ago when we started. And so I'm really proud of them. They're in a good place. They're going to get away from it eventually, but they're tracking it now, which they didn't used to. So it's still a success.
Yeah.
But yeah, they still have paper.
Move them over to like digital. But also I would assume too, like there's some companies too, like depending on how many different departments they've got going on, like it's
some
not
are
like
just really complex.
Right. So it's like you don't really have like a card for each department.
Mhm.
You have like everything going in one place, and then you collect all the receipts so that you know like what was purchased and where.
Yeah, and there's some that we've been able to get transitioned to an app that helps with, especially with like field crews. They're a lot less, whether it's the connection and their ability to get online versus their capacity for tech. So some that we were able to do an app and you just take a picture, and there's some that bring me a receipt, just show me the piece of paper, take a picture of the paper, and that's
trying to make out like the carbon font that's like been
really
rubbed off.
But like I said, that's a success story. Just getting the paper, as long as we've got something.
It's true.
That was a win. I'll take it.
That is true. That's another a good idea though. Like, so the app that you're just saying, like for the field crew and stuff.
Yeah.
So like you need like resources for different systems and like apps and softwares and stuff, so that like when your clients do need to implement something better operationally, then
Yeah.
you can have like those connections to refer them to.
Yeah, I use a lot of my experience with ERP and system implementation. That was a big thing I did when I was with Virginia State, the Commonwealth of Virginia. I did a lot of system implementations because finance and IT don't talk very well, and so I was that connection point.
I don't think IT talks very well to
I
any
don't think so either,
departments.
and accountants aren't really known for that either. So
True.
I've been able to take that, and then as obviously there's always new tech that I'm not aware of, but as I've learned new products, hey, we really want a product that they can go out and track their miles and take a picture of their receipt. I'm like, all right, let's research this. Connect Teams. There's QuickBooks has a really basic, there's this and that's this, and which one works best. And if they don't have an existing one, we figure it out. Yeah, I'm always looking to partner with somebody's or somebody's who have really good systems or processes they can recommend.
Yeah, because you never know, like with a client, with the industry, like what they
Yep.
might need, or like again, or we're both very relationship driven.
Yeah.
Personality driven. So like not everyone's going to be a good fit for everyone else. So like the
Right.
more connections, the more resources you have, like the more you can provide that
Absolutely.
for your clients, which is beautiful. Now, is there anything that specifically that you recommend? So like let's say someone is starting up, they don't have the budget to afford you yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What are some like, I mean, I don't want to give you like a full set. You can do 10 if you want, but like one or two like things that you recommend like every business owner like really get their hands on.
Ooh. So pick what tool you're comfortable with and start with that. I don't follow what everybody else is doing. Some people are going to use QuickBooks. Some are going to buy a system. Some are going to, if you
Do
have
a spreadsheet.
Yeah, if you have a notebook in your car and you write down your miles for that day every day, and you can make yourself do that, you carry that notebook everywhere. Or if you use the QuickBooks app or something, just track your things. That will set you up for success more than anything else will. And then open a business bank account. Even if you don't have a business official bank account, open a second checking account under your name and designate it for business. Same with a credit card. Get a separate, like keep it as separate as you can, and it'll just set you up for success and keep you out of trouble a lot quicker, a lot easier than waiting till you're big enough and you can afford it. So I know when I first started out, I couldn't open a business bank account, right? It wasn't large enough. They weren't going to. So, all right, I'll just open another checking account. I nicknamed it my business name. I got another credit card, nicknamed it and that's how I kind of started, but it really trained me to keep things separate, which protects you.
And it keeps it just easier to
track
if it's versus going through your personal account and designating like, oh, was this that meal?
Which is miserable. Yeah. It's miserable, and it's a lot harder to remember a year later when you're going through those versus if you're just doing it as you go along. You're like, all right, this is all my business expenses for the year. So those would be the top two I would say. Just track them and keep it separate, especially starting out.
Love it. Yeah. So real quick, back to the tracking thing. What kind of things should they be tracking? So you mentioned mileage.
Yeah, mileage. Anything you spend related to business. We're having coffee today. So this is a business coffee break. It's delicious. Yeah. I know, gently, so I don't break any more glasses.
Yes. That would make one heck of a moment.
Obviously, subscriptions. That's a really big one because there's a lot of subscriptions I have on my personal side that I use for business. My Audible is 100% for business knowledge, and when I'm traveling, so my personal pays for it, my business has to reimburse it. So things like that. Payroll. If you're paying yourself or pulling money out, you really want to make sure you're tracking it so you don't miss that.
Track it properly so you don't miss that in your numbers.
Yep. It's a very painful year. Yeah, anything.
Meals, equipment.
Meals are tricky. So if you don't be just going out to lunch on your lunch break and be like, oh, there's a business expense. Like I met with so-and-so, it was a business discussion, or I had a call, or I like make a note for yourself why you had that business meal. Those are really big ones that IRS looks at. And so we want to make sure when we get to year end that you're not going to get yourself caught. Vehicle. If you use your vehicle for business meetings, or if you're driving, or construction, right? Or restaurant. I'm running to the store to pick up some more supplies for the meal tonight. I'm always out of paper or plates or software or silverware or whatever they had to go shopping for. I had to run to the store. That's a business trip. So tracking every little thing that you're like, oh, this is a business call. My cell phone is business expense. So things like that.
Yeah, it all adds up.
It adds up It really does. We're still finding stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're still finding stuff that we're
Yeah, because there's
taking
some
care
things
of.
that you just don't think of. You know,
Yeah.
like you mentioned, like the whole like there's
Yeah.
some things that you pay for like on your personal, and you just happen to use it for business, and you're like, duh, then this should be like a business expense, you know. But sometimes you don't think of that at first, and because it's like been set up that way for so long, and you're just like, yeah, this is just what I do. I always just, you know, I total it,
Yeah.
you know, for because so you know we're talking about all this tracking stuff, but she does do helps with like the tax side of things as well. So like to set your business up so that you're tracking all of the right things, so that when it comes time
Yeah.
for tax season, that it is simple and everything is
Yeah.
itemized already and categorized correctly, so you know like what you qualify for, what not. And you
Yeah.
do some tax stuff for your
Some
clients.
tax. Yeah, I've got some
for
clients.
your
I
current
started
ones.
out with their taxes way back when they were tiny, and they just won't let me.
We won't let you go.
Won't let me go.
Not allowed to leave.
But if you have a tax person, obviously I help you make sure your books are right, and so we just send them a complete package at year end, and hopefully get that done with a lot less stress than it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. So we're kind of wrapping up here. So I'm going to do the last few minutes, and then I'm going to ask you, so you can think while I'm talking you up here, but like a one last message that you want to leave with the world. So I'll just think about that. So if you guys want to do any work with Nicole, feel free to check out her website. Again, website's coming up on the bottom here on the ticker. If you have any questions, if you're watching this on the replay, any questions that come up, like when you're watching this, like put them in the comments. Her and I will be like managing like that afterwards. So we'll be able to answer those questions. I'm also in Colorado. So and I'll be here for a little while until she kicks me out. If you know any business owners, locally here in Colorado, and we're in Fort Collins area, but we're, you know, not too far from Denver as well. So if you know any good business owners that, you know, we can have on the podcast here in the next couple of weeks, you let me know. Would love to do that. So if you have any recommendations, definitely put them in the comment, put them in touch with me. Something else. Oh, and so yeah, schedule a call with Nicole. You know, like if you're unsure, like just go to her website, like schedule that call, and see if it could be a benefit. And maybe sometimes you just need, you know, a little direction as to, you know, what you're working on. And are you opposed to people having calls with you, like if they're starting out and kind of like, hey, this is what I'm doing, like I know I can't
Not
afford
at
you
all.
yet, but like this is how do I set
That's how
myself
we all
up?
start, actually. I think every one of my clients started that way until they could get to a place where they felt they can use me.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I was like, because I did use that myself.
Years. We've been together for years.
Awesome. So any last words of
Ooh.
wisdom that you want to
So many
leave with
things.
the word? Oh, you can say a couple if you want.
No. I just really appreciate you having me on the show. I've been watching it since you started. Like I said, I've watched Julie grow her business for the last 8 years. Since the beginning, and just watching her be this brave human, and getting to follow in those footsteps and learn on my own too. If you have any questions, like it's all about just trying to help each other. Obviously, I've got a soft spot in my heart for small businesses, woman-led businesses, minority-led businesses. Anybody who doesn't kind of fit the mold.
Nonprofits and animals
especially. That's us. But I just want you to succeed. We can't get ahead easily in this world, and so let's help each other out. And if I can be part of that process, I'd absolutely love to be part of it. So,
I love that.
Thank you.
I love it. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. If you have, like I said, any comments, questions that pop up, definitely put them in the comments and we'll reach out. And check out her website. She got beautiful pictures on there. Her horses are on the
mountains.
Her view, beautiful. So definitely check that out. But thank you so much for joining, and we will see you guys next week. Have a fun weekend.
Okay.